Long day for you, perhaps. Sure seems like it. But that part has now come and gone for now, right? So there's no better moment to just have a moment with yourself. It'll be tough sometimes. And it sure will be for the upcoming days and further on. But that's just an inevitability, right? But just as those moments exist, there are also those moments where you can slow down. There's moments where you can slow down, stop thinking for a while, and just remind yourself of why you do it and what for and what you're all about. Sometimes you have to do difficult things, sometimes willingly, other times because there's no other choice. But all that goes into ensuring that things go the way you want it to. For yourself, other people, a pet maybe. Sometimes there's only so much you can do in a day. And it's fair to maybe sometimes overestimate how much you can accomplish in one day. But on the other hand, maybe sometimes there are moments of underestimating how much you can achieve and change throughout the year. Whether you find yourself alone or not. You always have yourself to be there, along with whatever you may like to occupy yourself with. As simple and straightforward as sitting around and being still, or throwing yourself at another challenge to test yourself sometimes in different ways. Regardless of what it is you do, and how much you do. It'd be best you don't get yourself lost into what occupies you. And make sure you to at least give yourself those well-needed breaks. At least make everything unnecessarily harder if you start neglecting yourself to an extent. Because for all the things you might care about, like your belongings or other people, it would be good to have a level of respect for yourself and a standard for yourself to make sure you just don't let yourself go. Because if you occupy yourself with doing things for the people you care about, I'm sure they'd like you to be the same when it comes to handling yourself. It's not like every day you have to push yourself to the extremes. There might be a consequence that you aren't aware of. But it's understandable to want to try a little harder sometimes. Push a bit further than what you currently know of where you stand. Because in there somewhere, there's still parts of you just waiting to be tapped into. And giving it some time, then you can build on that, whatever it might be. And not only can help you out, but also with bringing other people of significance around you. But all that has to stem from knowing how much is acceptable to push yourself, and not to an extent to where you're constantly hard on yourself and beat yourself down over things that might not be within your control. Sometimes you might be able to actually be capable of more than what you believe yourself to be. Sometimes treating yourself isn't really a bad thing. Just don't overdo it too much. But realize that when you're focused and you're doing whatever work needs to be done, it helps to acknowledge that every bit you do every single day, it does all add up. And yeah, sometimes you just have to realize that and be willing to tell yourself that. Tell yourself that you're doing good in your own way. Even tiny things that you might do to yourself or do for someone else that either you decide to try out or don't even realize you do already can do a lot. Even just a few words you tell someone you know, or just some random person, you may not realize how much of an impact you actually already have on the people around you. Because how would it be like if the people around you, if they didn't have someone like you to be around with or to spend time with or just work alongside with, play with, and whatever it is you can think of. So sometimes why not just be that person that people can look at fondly and perhaps even look up to or aspire to for some certain things. Don't shy away from wanting to do your own thing. Sure, there might be some things in the way, or some other things that have to be done in order to focus on another thing. To invest time in certain things and being able to have something to show for it. To have proof that you were around and that you at least had an effect within your circle. To have your imprint be there not only physically but mentally through the thoughts of other people or through memory of those maybe of those that are no longer around or ones that just have moved on to other things. Because sometimes there might be connections that don't last forever. But it still doesn't mean you can't make an impact on people you briefly meet or those you only know for a short while. Though getting there is quite the trip, depending on how you want to build yourself. And getting there can be pretty scary. Not knowing exactly how that journey will turn out for you, or the kind of challenges that you'll have to meet, or whatever failures you might have to endure in order to find yourself at the place you want to be. And sometimes it might only be you two that you can rely on in some situations. But you still have time to build on that and maybe fix things that you're aware need to be patched up, and then keep going. Because even if things might not exactly go your way, it's still important that you still find it within yourself to just keep it going. Instead of the question of why go on, it'd be more suitable of, well, why not keep going? You've already made it so far. You've already been going through so many things through your own journey, and also quite literally through all these years to where you are now. So then why not keep going? Having that curiosity to wonder what'll happen, and to accept things for not only the good things, but also wherever bad things might just be thrown your way. Whether that be something that's out of nowhere, or maybe something that you personally have foreseen happening. But you can't let the bad stuff define you. Instead, be defined the way with how you dealt with it, how you persevered through that, and being able to grow from it too. Because then through that, then it can be what you're remembered for or known for. And then maybe through that, you're able to help other people that could be going through something similar. Day by day, just the things you do, they build up and then mean a lot more than what many would think. Because why not be the best version of yourself that you can be? Even if at times it might be more difficult to uphold yourself in a certain way. Sometimes that means doing stuff completely alone. And then there you learn to appreciate your own presence. And through that it'll come all around with learning how to deal with yourself, handle yourself, and then taking care of yourself. And sometimes maybe it takes the interference of someone else to put you in the right way and set you straight. Just as there's a possibility of doing the same. You put some time and put some effort into it, and put your mind to it. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to do it. Sometimes the biggest challenge is just getting started with it. To just go and do it. Because maybe there was something that you wanted to do, or something that you were curious about, either trying or starting. And so, why not do it? Probably just take a moment of looking around and realizing what really is there that is stopping me from doing the things I want and what I want to personally achieve. It doesn't have to be something grand or something spectacular. It could be something more. Maybe something more smaller scale. With how you are to yourself, or maybe to a certain someone, family, friends, work maybe. In those times where you're there, not doing much or just resting, you have time to start thinking these things through. And figure out what it is you you want to go for, and perhaps give it a shot. Sure, there might be other people that may look or think of you differently, or are unsure about you. But how much of that would really matter from getting in your way of what you want? If you're able to just be decent with people, even that is enough. Just to not make things unnecessarily difficult for yourself. There is that sometimes you will have to put in more effort than you expect to keep up with certain things. But again, maybe it's just starting to just be present on that first day. That can be the most troublesome. But after that, you just keep showing up. It'll just become easier, and then hopefully it can be more habitual. And maybe for some days where you don't show up for it, well, it's not like it's the end of it if you miss one day or this one time. Because you can always just get right back to it on the next opportunity you have. But it's only really over until you decide it is. When you work towards these things, that you don't always have to be at a full 100%. Because there will be those moments where maybe you won't have any choice but to slow down a bit and just rest up. You might get stuck on something or feel like maybe something is not possible. But sometimes just a bit of rest and maybe with that a refreshed mind at the beginning of the day can be enough to push through that a different approach or just another attempt at it. Might be what you need, just to push through that and then figure out how to just keep going on. Figure out how to keep going. even with some bad days. Don't get yourself too discouraged, keeping you from doing the things you enjoy, or for what you're working on. Because then through the process of some of those things, there's a possibility of finding enjoyment of just going through the motion and finding fulfillment in occupying yourself with busy work that's meaningful for you. Whether that be purposely for yourself or something that can involve multiple people. Just full control of how you want your days to be like, and how you face these certain things, whatever obstacles, your successes and your failures. You have control of that. Just as there are elements that you can't control. But what's to really worry about those if you can't do anything about those? And instead just focus on the stuff you can work with. However it is you might feel right now, or how maybe you might feel of yourself. There's definitely someone out there that does care about you, does care for you, and that just through your emotions and maybe with how you interact with people and how you treat them, you could have already made quite an impact on other people and not realize it. So just keep going. Find a way, find a reason, a motivation to push through bit by bit. And just then, there might be something interesting to be found at the end of it. Maybe the end of something, or just the next step into something greater. You never know until you try it and see it through. And yeah, it's super stormy right now. And I'm not talking about the world right now. Big F if the power suddenly goes up, but it's fine. That's not gonna bother me. Just how you shouldn't let many things bother you. And then the fact that you made it this far means you'll be okay. By making it this far, it just proves that you're able to push through a few difficulties and keep going, and being able to find some value in what you do day to day. Maybe you just feel out of it from doing what you've done before, or felt like you've been following through a routine. It can be hard to get that momentum back. And it's almost like starting over, to where it becomes really difficult to just start again. But if you're able to do it before, then that's really stopping you from just picking yourself back up and getting right back at it. But essentially, you're already there. You just gotta do it like you did before and get right back on track.